Welcome to Bed Crime Stories. I'm your host, T, and I hope you're all doing well. 19-year-old Dylan Rounds has been missing for nearly 3 months now. He disappeared on Saturday, May 28th, 2022, and hasn't been seen or heard from since. Over the course of those 3 months, Dylan's parents have become increasingly frustrated by the lead investigators on the case, the Box Elder Sheriff's Office. The parents' frustrations have reached a fevered pitch now, and they're asking that Box Elder step aside and let another agency take over. Dylan's mother, Candace Cooley, and his father, Justin Rounds, were interviewed by Nate Easton of East Idaho News this morning, and here are their primary complaints regarding Box Elder's handling of Dylan's case. When they arrived at Dylan's farm in Lucin, Utah, on Monday, May 30th, the Box Elder search and rescue team soon found Dylan's boots. Both parents immediately recognized the boots as belonging to their son, no doubt about it. Search and rescue threw the boots in the back of one of their side-by-sides, and the search continued. Search and rescue stayed the first night. The next day, search and rescue came back out at 7:30 a.m., and they announced that their base camp, which had been set up on the property near the grain shed, was going to be moved to the Lucin Pond because they were disturbing Jim Brenner. Brenner, we now know, was later arrested on unrelated charges, and he has also been called an official suspect in Dylan's disappearance. Note that on that day, Box Elder could have arrested Jim Brenner on an outstanding arrest warrant, and Box Elder knew about that warrant. Instead, they opted to move their base camp so as not to disturb the violent felon and to leave him on the site of a potential crime scene. As Cooley and Rounds talked about this with Nate Easton, it became clear why they're furious with Box Elder. If that were my missing son and this was how the lead investigators handled the case from the start, I'd want them off of it too. Why did it take Box Elder 2 weeks to finally arrest Jim Brenner? And why didn't they search his own property until about a week ago? On the next day, Tuesday, May 31st, Candace and Justin received the call from Kurt Wadsworth telling them that Dylan was being held hostage in a house in town. When they told one of the sheriffs about Dylan being held hostage, he told them, "Good luck with that," according to Candace Cooley. Justin called Box Elder to say if they don't go out to that house now, then he was going to go inside of it himself. Well, Box Elder did not show up, nor did they call Elko County as Candace Cooley had requested. Elko County is in charge of Montello, Nevada. Candace ended up having to dial 911, and that's the only reason apparently Elko County eventually showed up at that house with 6 detectives, and we all know that Dylan was not inside. Next, Candace told Nate Easton about the NamUs entry and the information that was leaked about the key fob to Dylan's F-150 truck, that it was missing and later returned by an unknown person to Dylan's trailer. You may recall that I wrote to NamUs to ask them where they received that information about the key fob. I did not hear back from them, but the information about the key fob suddenly disappeared from the NamUs entry after my email to them. I later received a call from lead detective Zach Moore of the Box Elder Sheriff's Office asking me about that NamUs email. I didn't answer the phone when he called because I didn't know it was a detective. But when I heard his message, I definitely called him right back, but all I got was his voicemail. I tried calling him again the next day twice, and he never called me back. Here is the voicemail that he left me.
My name's Moore. I'm a detective with the Box Elder County Sheriff's Office. Wanted to contact you in relation to a message you sent into the NamUs website. If you could give me a call back when you're available, that'd be great.
So I still don't know what Detective Moore wanted to talk to me about. He hasn't called me back. Candace and Justin were extremely angry when they heard that a detective from Box Elder mistakenly put that confidential information about the key fob out in a public domain for all to see. And that is an egregious error. It definitely explains why we in YouTube land were hearing contradictory stories about that missing key fob from Candace and from the NamUs entry. That's why I wrote to NamUs asking about it. Box Elder failed to see the foul play at work in Dylan's disappearance for a very long time. Candace is also frustrated that Box Elder would not share the same information with her and with Justin at the same time. They were treating the parents like suspects, which I guess is understandable, but neither Candace nor Justin were ever given a formal interview. By the way, Candace also said that Jim Brenner and Don Hatley were never formally interviewed in the beginning either. And Dylan's boots, which were found on that Monday when the family showed up at the farm, were not processed until about a week later. Candace told Nate that a detective did eventually tell her that the blood on the boots belonged to Dylan. So that is new information for us. It was Dylan's blood on the boots after all. Candace and Justin are also upset that Box Elder failed to organize a search for Dylan, an official grid search. Instead, they left it to Dylan's family in those initial days to try and figure out where and how to search. I'm happy to see Justin Rounds turning up with Candace to make these complaints together about Box Elder. Candace has been criticized for complaining and called a lot of nasty names by some YouTubers. Now we can see both parents, mom and dad, are upset and they're sharing the same message together. They want Box Elder to step down as the lead investigators, and they don't understand why Box Elder doesn't just do that because they've shown so little interest in investigating the case. They're also upset that they were told that it was okay to take Dylan's F-150 truck and his seed truck home. Those vehicles, as we know, were only processed much later. Both Candace and Justin are convinced that evidence was lost because of Box Elder's lackadaisical attitude in the initial days after Dylan went missing. The parents are also upset that Jim Brenner's remote property wasn't searched until about 2 weeks ago, when they'd been asking for that for weeks. Box Elder never communicated anything about it to the family, and in fact, they didn't even know that the property was going to be searched until they saw it actually going down. The parents told Nate Eaton that Dylan's seed truck has now been thoroughly processed. They also said that Lucin Pond was searched multiple times as well. But seeing how Adventures with Purpose found Kylie Rodney in a reservoir that had been searched multiple times, and they found her in just about 30 minutes, makes me personally think that perhaps AWP needs to take a trip out to that Lucin Pond. At this point, Candace no longer wants to deal with Box Elder County. Candace said that she has zero faith in them and will no longer deal with them. Justin wasn't quite as emphatic, but he does seem to be standing by Candace. Candace is making it sound like Box Elder has to willingly step down before another agency can take over. Both Candace and Justin are very concerned that some YouTubers are showing up at Dylan's farm and also at the grain shed property and potentially destroying what little evidence may still be there. Justin said that they have cameras out there now so they can see what's going on, and he's about to press trespassing charges on these people, and I understand their concerns. Again, if that were my child, I'd want all evidence preserved so that skilled investigators could find it and process it. Dylan's father choked up when talking about the sunflowers people have planted in honor of Dylan. It appears that Dylan's mom and dad are in tandem now, and are both standing up equally for their son. And I applaud that. Until the next time on Bed Crime Stories, now do me a favor, leave me a comment, hit that like button, it helps so much, and subscribe if you're not yet subscribed.